welcome back to my Hooked on Books reading corner. Today I'm going to share a really special book with you, and it's a book from when I was a little girl, and it's called Alpaca. And I used to love this book. It's by a lady called Rosemary Billam, and the pictures are by Vanessa Julian Otti. So if you're sitting comfortably, let's get reading. Alpaca Rabbit had been with the family for as long as he could remember. His dungarees were faded, he had a hole in the elbow of his jumper, and his buttons were all odd and different sizes. One of the stitches in his mouth had even come apart, so he couldn't smile. His little girl Ellen kept telling him to cheer up. He tried, but he felt lonely and down in the dumps. He remembered the old days when Ellen used to take him to school in her bag. That was interesting. He liked learning things. He liked the other children. He used to sit next to Ellen and help her with her sums and watch her painting. But recently, Ellen had started leaving him at home with the rest of the toys. On her birthday, for the first time, Ellen forgot to take Alpaca downstairs for her birthday party. He could hear the children in the front room dancing to music and playing games, and he sighed. He felt a bit left out. He decided to go and have a little peek. So he climbed off the bed and tiptoed out onto the landing. He lowered himself down the stairs and pushed his head between the banister rails. He could see Ellen opening her presents. There were pieces of wrapping paper and bits of ribbon and cards and envelopes all over the floor. Alpaca had never seen so many presents. There were cries of delight as Ellen opened a box and took out a pink doll with curly hair and shiny black shoes. Alpaca thought that she looked a perfectly ordinary sort of doll. Ellen was excitedly opening her next parcel. Inside was a feathery owl wearing a pair of spectacles. Ellen showed him off to her friends. Alpaca could not see what all the fuss was about. Ellen's mother started to light the candles on the cake. "I'll just shut the door so that the draft doesn't blow them out," she said. It was dark and cold on the landing, and Alpaca couldn't watch the party anymore. So he went back to Ellen's room and climbed up on the bed. He kept thinking what a lot of fun the children were having. That night, Ellen was allowed to stay up late. When it was time for bed, she had to get out of her party dress and into her nightie very quickly. She put the pink doll and the owl onto her bed next to Alpaca. "Move up, Alpaca," she said. Alpaca wished the new toys didn't take up so much room. He nudged the owl to make him move up a bit. The owl pecked him. Alpaca didn't think that was very polite. Alpaca hoped that Ellen would see he was being squashed, but after saying good night, she went straight off to sleep because she was so tired. "Excuse me," he whispered to the pink doll, "but I need a bit more space." She pretended not to hear. Alpaca gave her a push, but she pushed him back, and Alpaca fell over the side and rolled underneath the bed. There he is falling. It was very cold on the floor all night, but what was worse, nobody had noticed he was missing in the morning. He lay sadly there all day, sneezing in the dust. Nobody heard. Alpaca wondered if Ellen would remember him when she came home from school. Would she think of looking under the bed? At 4 o'clock, Ellen's friend Mary came to play. "What should we do until tea time?" asked Mary. "Let's play nurses," said Ellen. They got out Ellen's nursing kit and uniform from the cupboard. The girls put all the toys into hospital, but Ellen wasn't happy. Something wasn't right. Something was missing. "Where's Alpaca?" she said. The girls searched in the wardrobe and behind the curtains and under the bed covers. "He's got lost," said Mary. "He must be hiding," said Ellen. She looked under the bed. "Alpaca, what are you doing down there? You're all dusty." Ellen picked Alpaca up and gave him a hug. Ellen was surprised to see how thin he'd become. "I remember when Mummy first made you, you were so cuddly and cheerful and bright," she said. She looked at Alpaca and noticed that the wool on his tummy had worn away and that he was losing some of his stuffing. "Look," she whispered to Mary. "I could take him home with me and make him better," said Mary. "I'd swap my kaleidoscope for him," she added. Alpaca was suddenly very frightened. Mary was quite a nice girl, but he didn't want to go and live at her house. What would Ellen say? Ellen didn't need time to think. She answered straight away. "I couldn't swap Alpaca for anything. He's always been my best friend. I can make him better." Alpaca felt happy through and through. Mary took his temperature and made charts for all the other patients, while Ellen threaded a needle for the operation. She got the syringe out of her nursing kit and gave Alpaca an injection. "It won't hurt now," she told him. Ellen pushed all his stuffing back in and sewed him up. "All over now," she said. She also put another stitch in his lips so that he could smile again. Ellen and Alpaca smiled at each other. Ellen fussed over Alpaca while Mary gave the owl some medicine and tied a bandage round the pink doll's head. "What are their names?" asked Mary. "They haven't got names yet," said Ellen. Alpaca looked across at the new toys sitting in the old cot. He thought how horrible it must be to not have a name. "What are you going to call them?" asked Mary. "I'll call the owl Wisey, because he's wise. And I'll call the doll Jane, because she looks like a Jane," said Ellen. Ellen's mother called, "Tea's ready." So the girls ran downstairs. Alpaca went over to Jane and Wisey. "Hello," he said. "My name's Alpaca." Just then the door opened and Ellen and Mary came back. They sat all the toys down in a circle and set out the doll's tea service. Mary poured the orange juice and Ellen shared out the birthday cake. She gave Alpaca the biggest piece because he'd been so brave. It's nice to have friends, thought Alpaca, smiling. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed that story as much as I used to. I'll see you soon. Bye.